So let's talk about the assets that you've acquired. I mean, how did you find them? When did you find them? And tell us, give us a little summary on each one. There are 4, as I understand.
Inclusive of Baxter Springs,
Yeah.
I think, looking at the document you're looking at.
Yeah.
There's actually 5,
Okay.
and now there's 6.
Right.
Okay, so those assets are selected by Morris Smith, our VPX. And the same geological team has been together for 14 years, give or take. And the group of 4 geologists have, at this point, a new one started the other day, and that excludes Halila. That's their discovery in Turkey. The Turkish discoveries are theirs.
What's this team known for? This team?
Oh, Carlin-style gold deposits, right? So right now they have 8 operating gold mines that are profitable under their discovery belt.
Right.
And so that group, Moira and her teams.
Any big ones that we'd recognize?
Long Canyon.
Right. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Penasquito.
Right. Okay.
El Limon for Torres
So
Gold.
some meaningful ones.
Pogo in Alaska. Oh yeah, they can keep going. Yeah.
Economic means different things to different people. So
yeah.
Okay.
They're a rarity in the mining industry.
Great. Okay.
They're that good, and they have a running mandate with the company. You go crazy, and if you want something, call me. And if I can get it for you, I'll get it for you. And if we can afford it, I'll try and get it for you. And they just keep looking at things as we go. And so they picked the Gold Strike target in Utah. And I wasn't working for the company then.
Oh, right. When did you join?
I joined when the company was changing their president. And Mark O'Day came to see me, had lunch, and he said, would you be interested in coming out of retirement? Because I retired at 59.
Right.
Like, I was like you, institutional mining and corporate finance and all that. And I said, what is it? And he said, well, it's the Gold Strike project in Utah. And he didn't know, but I represented a second buyer for that asset. I'd already done 2 or 3 months of due diligence on site.
Recently?
Before I came.
Right.
And I was another buyer. And I can't disclose who the buyer is, and I can't disclose what my price was, but Pilot Gold won the auction, and they got the asset. So I was comfortable with the asset. That was easy. And so picked that up, and then after that I was there for I think a month or 2, and I went to Moira and I said, anything else you want? We've got money. She said, I want the Black Pine project in Idaho. And I had that secured in 48 hours for $800,000 US in cash and 300,000 shares of the company and a 0.5% NSR going to the property owner so they could take the NSR and retire the liens on the property.
Right. You had an agreement or an option?
No, I had an exclusivity period done and ready, and then it took 2 or 3 months to close it. But because it has to go lien free, because you won't take on the liability. And then the company already owned the Kinsley deposit, which is in sight of Long Canyon, and there's I think 522,000 ounces of 43-101 compliant gold there. And then the Baxter Springs project is south of Kinross's Round Mountain mine, and it's 15 square kilometers of a crisscross pattern of jasperoids running as high as 15 grams at surface. And there's independent drill holes in there of 33 meters of 22 grams, but that's obviously running down dip of a vein structure. Okay,
so you used an interesting phrase there a second ago when you were brought into Liberty Gold. You said, we have the money, I want these assets. So what does that mean?
It means if we think it's got 2 million ounce potential, we're not going to stop buying.
Right.
As long as we get it at our price. I'm not paying up for anything. It's shareholder money.
Okay. And how much cash was available at that time for
10 million Canadian.
10 million Canadian.
No, that was to run all the exploration and G&A and everything.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So once you buy one of these projects or acquire it, they come with a tome of exploration data you didn't have to pay for. So on the Gold Strike property, it came with 1,519 drill holes. So the permitting process in the United States is onerous, whether you're dealing with Forest Services or the Bureau of Land Management. So by the time you start a permit and get your final plan of operations, it can take 2 years. So that's a time suck that you have to work your way through, really. And so it takes 2 years, and we now have a plan of operation that allows us to do what we want, where we want, at this point in a gold market. They're all there. There's no waiting anymore. Black Pine's done. It's drilling today. Gold Strike is done. 2 of the major deposits are being drilled contemporaneously in the U.S. right now. And there is one long-standing on Kinross, and Baxter Springs, no, but we also own the old Griffin mine, which is another oxide system we've never gotten to. It just sits there because we're just too busy on the 2 main projects. And recently we were informed by Coral Reef LLC out of New York and that the Regent deposit, which is around just under 300,000 ounces of stackable gold equivalent, gold and silver, is in production now. And the company owns a 15% NPI after payback of initial costs in that. And that's should hopefully be paying us revenue at the end of next year.
Okay, so that sounds like a lot of moving parts.
There's always parts, yeah.
And that costs money.
Yeah.
So can we just talk about the finances?
Sure you can. Yeah.
Okay, so what's your cash position?
Right now, I think it's around $7 million US or something like that.
Right, and that's going to get you through to when? A burn rate is people.
Well, to get us through to the last quarter of the year, but if our monetization process in Europe works, we'll be looking for money for a long time.
What do you mean by monetization process?
The Turkish assets.
Right. Okay. So, and that's the only asset you're looking to offload?
That's at this point, yeah.
Right. Okay.
There's inquiries about some of the other assets to purchase them as well.
So what happens if that doesn't sell?
And then I'd be dealing with strategic investors from major mining companies, and I can always raise the money.
But in a way which might dilute the current.
Every financing is dilution for every single issuer on the market.
Right. Okay. I mean, you've kind of interesting period. I mean, if I'm looking at the share price, highs of 48 last year, lows of 29. 1st of February this year is at 43. We're back down to 35. So
it kind of looks like a lot of charts.
Well, a lot of charts are going down.
I managed to keep it relatively more flat.
We've had tax season selling and all of that kind of good stuff that happens in the Canadian markets. But that suggests there's a lot of uncertainty in the market as to what you're doing. Do you think this new story has impacted on that, or?
We generate a lot of news.
Right.
And we've got I think maybe 10 institutions that own our stock.
Yeah.
The Van Eck Fund, not the GDXJ, but Joe Foster's fund, owns with his warrants 19.9% of the company. Right. The RCF fund out of Denver, they've got about 14% of the company. There's several other funds out there. Insiders, I think, are at 6.6%. And I've only been there not even 3 full years. In my first year, I bought 2.4 times my salary of the stock in the market.
Yeah, so
you see it in insiders.
You continue to be a big buyer.
Yeah, and I bought it last year and the year before last over 2 times my salary.
Yeah.
And it's basically, I just made all my money in my career in bearish markets. And if I can find deposits that are going to make money in a bearish market, I load up. And when my market eventually comes to me, I monetize that. And I live very happily after that, right? So you have to have patience in this business. Yeah. It's not a trading business.
So let's get again. You've got a bunch of institutional shareholders. They're sitting on quite a hefty sum.
Yeah, I can talk to 70% of the shareholders on any given day.
Right, fantastic. And you prefer institutional to retail?
Well, I don't.
How do you balance that?
Retail is fine. Institutional means they're just bigger positions that you talk to.
But there's also less liquidity.
Well, there's a lot of liquidity in this stock. It averages 300 to 500,000 shares a day, which is good for institutions. So if they want to get out, they can get out. If they want to get in, they get in. And I've been around long enough that I'm not offended by a sell order because if you bought the stock, you have the right to sell it, right? And if you buy the stock, hopefully you make a profit and we do our jobs. And so a lot of people who run junior mining companies don't like the unexpected market cap shock of a big sell order when they're not prepared for it, nor could they get prepared for it.